So we'll start with Aleph. What are the two questions raised in the Maimer? We're talking about raised in this first chapter of the Maimer, in Aleph. What? Right? And what's the other one?
Rabbi Majeski, this book,
You brought it? Yeah, you can put it into that room there. Thank you very much. Okay, so the two questions are, one of them is, why is the reward for not worshiping Egel Azov, why is the reward for that Rosh Chodesh? Women were given a reward because they didn't do the Egel Azov. So why is this the reward for that? What's the connection? The second question is, we would think that Rosh Chodesh should not be connected so much to women, because women are exempt from mitzvahs, shazman groma, mitzvahs that are time-bound. And Rosh Chodesh is a mitzvah that's time-bound. So why would Hashem give them this mitzvah, which is time-bound? These are the two questions. So then the Maimon goes into explaining what is really behind the Egel Azov, like what was really going on in their mind when they worshiped the golden calf. So first he starts, so we're going back to the questions now on Bein, the second chapter. What did Paro mean when he said the words, I don't know Hashem?
that he didn't know that the name Avaya.
Right.
So he didn't want to believe that, and he also knew. Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, wow. Mazel tov, mazel tov.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
There was a war going on between us and Vienna, and we won. Okay. That's actually the American government, not that,
Yeah.
right?
No.
Okay, Baruch Hashem.
Yes.
So we're reviewing the questions of the Maimer, so hopefully you'll be here at the beginning of the next Maimer. We'll start tomorrow, probably. Okay, so what he said is there doesn't know Hashem Havaya, right? Number two, what are the two conduits, the two channels through which Hashem transmits vitality to the world, to the Gashmizdika world? What? Talking about Mitzrayim. No, I'm not talking about Mitzrayim, but in general. But, the truth is, your answer is correct. Your answer is correct, but I guess I'm looking for the answer based on this chapter 2 in the Maimon. And specifically, the channel to which Hashem gives influence that to all the laws of nature, all the things in the natural world. So the two things are going once, going twice. What are the two things? This is on page 1 in the sheets here. The question is, what are the two conduits, the two channels in which Hashem transmits vitality to the physical world? I'll say one more word and that'll make it easier. To the 70 nations of the world.
Oh, he changed the name. Made
There's 70 angels and then there's the constellations. So first Hashem channels this vitality through the 70 angels, and then from there it gets channeled to the constellations, and from there it gets channeled to here to the physical world. Okay, then we go to chapter 3, Gimel. What does it mean that because Hashem is so high, in other words, we believe that Hashem is involved in everything in this world, even though the nations that disagree, they say Hashem is so high that it's degrading to say that he's dealing with this world. So what does it mean that because Hashem is so high, he relates to earth just like he relates to heaven? There's no difference. The higher you are, you relate to higher things. So Hashem, it does make sense what they're saying, that Hashem relates to heavenly things more than he relates to earthly things. And we say, no, it's the same. How does Hashem being high explain why he relates to heaven and earth equally?
Because since he's infinite.
Right. If I would say that he's high, finite, so heaven is closer than earth. But once I understand that Hashem is infinite, so when you're talking about infinite, heaven and earth are equal distance, all the same. So those philosophers that say Hashem's presence on the heaven, not on the earth, because heaven is more spiritual, that means they deny that Hashem is infinite. They see Hashem as finite, and therefore they see the difference. And we're saying just the opposite. Hashem is infinite. And therefore, just like you agree and you definitely admit that Hashem created the heavens and that he's involved with the heavens, same way he's involved with earth, because to him it makes no difference. Number 2, now we come to the Makkahs. What was the deeper purpose of the 10 Makkahs that Hashem brought upon Mitzrayim? Of course, the simple reason is punishing them, but there was something deeper in bringing these Makkahs. That strange things happened with the lice and with the river and with the frogs and with the animals. What was the deeper reason for that?
Showing them that Hashem runs the world.
Right, to show that Hashem is the one who makes things happen in the physical, natural world. That we see that the natural world changes because Hashem wants it, and it doesn't go according to the order of nature. Yeah. What does it mean, number 3? So this is Gimel, number 3, that Havaya and Elokim are one.
But the 2 arms of the same body.
Right.
Elohim is the same than Ateva.
Right.
And Hashem is also the physical world.
Exactly, right. So the emphasis is that Elokim is B'gematria HaTeva. That's the name of Hashem that gives life to the order of nature. Havaya is above nature. So what we're saying is it's all one. It's not Chas Hashem, 2 separate things. It's like you said, the mashal of it's 2 hands in the same person. It's all the same person doing it. So Havaya and Elokim are one. And therefore, there's no room to think that here there's less of Hashem's involvement than there. What does it say? We say this in davening, that Hashem renews the world every day, when in fact it's renewed every second.
The day encapsulates all the seconds.
So it could have said every second to be more precise.
It's recognize something new.
What?
Every day, recognize something.
Right. Every day you see it more openly. But the fact that wake up in the morning, we're refreshed, the world is refreshed, everything that you couldn't see before now is clear. So in a certain sense, the renewal is seen every day, noticed every day. But yes, in essence, it's every second. Dagon. Now we come to what was the opinion of the Arab round? Like what was their philosophy? And that's why they made the Egel Azov.
Were they worshiping idols before and they just went back to their own?
And what do they believe?
That if you the constellations out there like Aries, and they're gonna create the same animal and then it's gonna.
Right. So they believe that the constellations really are in charge, not Hashem, Chas v'shalom. And the fact that the Yidden succeeded in going out of Mitzrayim, thank you, the fact that they succeeded in going out of Mitzrayim was for a different reason. They said that the god of, which is the ox, was the one who overpowered the sheep, which is their god. But that has nothing to do with Hashem, which answers the second question. Why did the Satan make an ox emerge? Because they were saying that's the constellation that is more powerful than the one in Mitzrayim. It's good to write the answers. So whenever you want to do a review of the Maimer, you just look at all your answers. Okay, hey, why are women stronger in the belief that Havayim Elokim are one? Why are they stronger than men?
Because
we came from Malchut.
Very good. So how does that explain it?
These extras?
Yes. Because women come from Malchus and men come from Zoh, which is higher up. So if you talk about higher or lower, you say, oh, Zoh is higher than lower. But when you talk about the impact that it has down here, because women come from Malchus, therefore they feel, they sense their source, their spiritual source, more than the men. So they're able to sense it down here more than the men. The spiritual source that a man's neshama comes from is Zoh, from a higher place. With a higher place, because it's removed from the physical world, therefore it doesn't have an impact on them. True, every man could also feel Hashem's presence, but they have to make more of an effort. It's not as natural as it is for a woman, because their spiritual source, which they're in touch with, is further away. It reminds me of a story. Once there was a student that she, what got her involved in Yiddishkeit was that she was going through some pictures, family pictures, and she noticed some strange looking people of grandparents, of great grandparents. So she asked the mother, what's this? He's wearing a beard and she has so like she say she's a shaitel on the head. So the mother said, oh, they used to be religious. Her grandparents weren't religious, they were great grandparents. Anyway, and that sparked an interest in her. Like, this is where I come from, this is my family, I want to be connected to that. And so when she was speaking, she said, she asked herself a question that once when she was speaking about religion, someone said to her, you know, you are a descendant of Sarah and Rivka and Rachel and Leah. Don't you want to be like connected to them? No, didn't have an effect on her. But when her great parents realized we're like that, that had an effect. Now, who's greater, her great parents or Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah? Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah are much greater than her great grandparents. But Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah are also much further away. Her great grandparents is closer to her, so that had more of an effect on her. Same idea. Why do the nations count by the sun and we count by the moon, by the lunar year?
Same with the sun is stronger.
So,
And the Yidden are like, oh, but counting by the moon shows that Hashem is the one who's in charge of everything.
right, the sun and the moon also correspond to the two things. The sun corresponds to Zoh, which is the higher one, and the moon corresponds to Malchus, which is the lower one. The famous words that everybody usually knows, even people who are not so associated with religion, they know it as a song. The words David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Kayim. Where's the source for that? Yes, most people will say it's a pasuk in the Torah, it's a pasuk in the prophets, it's a medrash, Gemara. No, it's actually in the Siddur. That's the source. And we're in the Siddur, in the blessing we make over the new moon. That's what we say, David Melech Yisrael, Chai V'Kayim. David, king of Israel, lives forever. So the reason for that is because the moon represents Malchus, the kingdom of King David, and our neshamas, Yidden in general, we probably said Yidden, men versus women, but in a more general way, Yidden versus the nations of the world, their neshamas are connected more to the sun, to Zah. Our neshamas are connected more to Malchus, and therefore we naturally have more that feeling of godliness than the nations of the world. And that's what we count by the moon, and we're compared to the moon, and so on. So now, after everything's said and done, why is Rosh Chodesh a woman's yontif? And why is, after everything explained, and why was this given as a reward for the Egel Azov? Because Rosh Chodesh is the month, yontif of the moon. What are we celebrating? The new moon. So that's where women get their spiritual strength from. It's from Malchus. And the sphere of Malchus manifests in the moon. Like it says in the halacha, that when men go out to the street to make the bracha on the new moon, you make sure that the moon is there, didn't run away, and then you're not allowed to look at the moon until you finish. Why is that? Because the Shekhinah, the divine presence, rests on the moon when we make the bracha. When we say the word divine presence, which aspect of the divine presence? And the answer is Malchus. It's the sphere of Malchus. Okay, now we'll go to the terms. Most of the terms, almost all of them, are pure Hasidic terms. Some of them are really not pure Hasidus. They're also like used in the halacha, but it's found in this mimer and in Maimar in general. So let's start with number one. Chayas Kloli. Anyone remember what that means? Right. The general vitality, that Rosh Chodesh is called the head of the month. He explained because on this day, the general vitality for all the next 30 days of the month are manifesting on that day, and from that day, they later get distributed to every day of the month. Number two, again, this is not a Hasidic terminology, it's a halachic terminology, but still related to the Maimer. Mitzvah Sasei Shazman Grama. Anybody? You won't get punished for giving an answer. Don't worry. Mitzvah say means what?
To do mitzvahs.
What does mitzvah asay mean? Mitzvah asay. There's another term, mitzvah loy sasa. Mitzvah asay means a positive commandment. Mitzvah loy, there's another one that has before the word asay, it says loy asay, which means mitzvahs that are negative, do not do. Mitzvah asay means a positive commandment that is time bound. Shazman grama, time bound. Number 3 and 4 are like a set. Api Hariya, Api Cheshvan. Anyone remember what that is about? Regarding the moon. So the way they used to establish Rosh Chodesh was Api Hariya, by seeing. Someone had to come to the Beis Din and testify to witnesses that we saw the moon, the renewal of the new moon. And then the Beis Din would announce it's a new month. Api Cheshvan means, Cheshvan in Hebrew means counting, or calculation. It means that based on astronomy, they make certain calculations and they figure out that this and this day will be the first day of the month. Number 5 is also not a Hasidic term, but it's in the Maimon, Moilad Halavana. Moilad. The birth of the new moon. Right. So 3, 4, and 5 are all related. Number 6. Okay, this is already a term from Zohar. Dor Deya. Right. The generation that was in the desert, those 40 years, they're called Dor Deya in the Zohar, generation of knowledge, which means that their knowledge of Hashem surpassed all the other generations because they saw openly Hashem's presence like no one ever saw in the future. All the miracles they saw, and even throughout the 40 years, they had a miraculous way of getting food from Shemayim. Egel Hazov is the golden calf. Number 8, Elokad Elokaya. Right. That the nations refer to Hashem as the God of gods, meaning to say they don't deny that Hashem is a creator or that he's really the ultimate boss, but they say the other constellations or other forces are also God, but Hashem is the God of all the gods, and that's Avodah Zarah. In other words, there's a big mistake that people think Avodah Zarah, idol worship, is if you deny that Hashem exists, or you deny that Hashem created the world. What he's explaining here is no, idol worship is even someone who believes that Hashem created the world, but he denies that Hashem is running the world himself, and not that he delegated authority to any other force. We should make a shechianu the first day that the steam is coming up. If it gets too hot, you can let me know and we'll lower it. But what?
What coming up?
Steam. What? After so long time in America, steam. Number 10. What does the pasuk mean? Hashemayim shemayim Hashem va'aretz nasan l'bnei adam. The heaven was given to Hashem, and the earth is the people.
Number 9.
Yeah, number 10.
Oh,
Oh, I skipped number 9. You're right. Ozav Hashem es haaretz, number 9. What was that? Ozav Hashem. Hashem abandoned the earth. That's a pasuk. What is that alluding to?
what they're saying.
Right. It's alluding to the philosophy of the nations that Hashem did create the world, but then he abandoned the earth and left it in the hands of other forces to run. Then the pasuk, next pasuk is also similar, which we say in davening, especially in Hallel, Hashemayim shemayim l'Hashem, the heavens are the heavens to Hashem, va'aretz nasan l'bnei adam, and the earth was given to man, to humans. So that also is a pasuk which alludes to this belief, as if the heavens, Hashem runs the heavens, and the earth is run by humans or other kind of forces. Number 11, the Hebrew word mazolis. What does that mean? Mazel?
What? Where the-
Constellations, right. I guess when we say Mazel Tov, we're not chas v'sholem alluding to like the constellations should do a good job and help you out, but it means in the order of nature, things are connected to the constellations. So you're giving a bracha, but not that we're governed by the constellation, as we'll soon see. Number 15. Number 12, Mazel Psula, Mazel Shur. So these are the names of the different constellations, right? Mazel Shur means the constellation of the ox. Mazel Psula is, what do we call it? Arius. Again, there's another pasuk where it says, "Ala Shamayim Kavodei," Hashem's glory is upon the heavens. Again, it's another verse that refers to this belief that the non-Jews say that Hashem's glory is on the heavens, but not here on earth. By the way, we also agree that we also associate Hashem with heaven. But what we mean is that Hashem is more revealed in the heaven, but not Chaz v'Shalom, that his presence is only there and not here. Number 14, Maminim b'nei Maminim. So what does that mean? Believers, children of believers. That Vayidin, belief in Hashem, is natural. It's something which we have, it's inherent in our neshama to have this belief in Hashem. Number 15, where it says, Ein mazel yisol. Yidden don't have mazel, means we are not governed by the constellations. We're governed by Hashem himself, and we recognize that. Avaya hu Elokim, we just went over that. Hashem Elokim is one. Number 17, Garzin biyad achay. I mean, you notice that I didn't write the words in English, because I think I explained that one of my reasons why I did is I want you to become familiar with the Hebrew terms, even though we could have used some vowels here, but Garzin biyad achay. What does that term mean? Anyone remember? Garzin biyad achay. You know the idea, but just want to connect it to the terms. Garzin means an axe. Axe in the hand of the chopper, which means that's the analogy that's used. Just like an axe in the hand of the chopper, it doesn't get any credit for a building that's being built with this axe because it's only a tool. That's how the constellations, the angels, and all those forces that we learn about, they don't do anything, have no free choice. They're only tools through which Hashem makes things happen. 18, do you remember the word matat? So matat is the name of an angel that it says here in the Maimon, brought down from Gemara. He's the angel that's in charge of the whole universe. In other words, there are different departments in the world that different angels are in charge of. Next week's Parsha will be learning about the two angels, Gabriel and Michael, two angels. One is an angel, the one angel that came to turn over Sodom and destroy Sodom. That's the angel of fire. There's another angel, which is sort of more for kindness. But Matat is the angel that's in charge of the whole world. Number 19 is a quote, Ein uman beloy kelim. There isn't a craftsman without tools. Or a craftsman can't function without tools. So this is one of the questions they asked. Does that imply that we do give credit to the tools? They said, no, the purpose of the tools is that the talent that this person has, whether it's a painter, an artist, a writer, the talent that they have should be able to be revealed from its potential state to its actual state. But no credit is given to the tools. So if a person writes a novel and it's written beautifully and everybody's very inspired by it, no one's going to give credit to the pen that wrote it. They'll give credit to the writer, and the same with the artist and anything else. So the term that's used in Chassidus, now this is an extremely common term, try to remember it and get used to it. Whenever we talk about any kind of potential that goes through this transition from its potential state to actual, is number 20. Mehelim el agili. Helim means concealed, gila means revealed. In other words, the artist has the potential to draw, but you don't see it. You don't see the talent. When they actually draw a beautiful picture, then it becomes revealed. Besides the fact that you have a beautiful picture in front of you, their talent is now revealed. Their talent manifests through this drawing that they made. So therefore, we use the term Mehelim el agili, from concealed to revealed. Number 21, Shituf. When we learned that, I told you we're not going to go into it. We're going to have another mimer that will elaborate on this more. But Shituf comes from the Hebrew word shutfus, which means partnership. And that's a belief that Hashem runs the world. He created the world. He runs the world. But the other forces, no, they don't really run it, but they're partners. They have some input, a little bit of an input of how things go. And that's also something which is really Avodah Zarah, but it's different. And we'll learn about it later. Number 22, How about this one? Remember the terms. Alma, I think you know what the word Alma means. It's Aramaic, but what does it sound like? What does it look like? Hebrew? Alma is like the word Olam, world. Alma the Nukva, Alma the Chura, which means the feminine world and the masculine world. We explained that the neshama of men come from the masculine world, which is Za, and the neshama of women come from the feminine world of Malchus. I remember the Rebbe once spoke about the advantage of doing a mitzvah or learning Torah, 10 people together. Now, normally we're under the impression that's only if you have 10 men together, because 10 men make a minyan. But 10 women together, that shouldn't make any difference whether it's 10, 5, or 20, or 3. The Rebbe said, no, when there are 10 Jews together, men or women, there's a presence of the Shekhinah there. So why can't women be part of a minyan? And the answer is because what it says here, women's neshama come from the feminine aspect in the spiritual realm. Men's neshama come from the masculine. So both, if there's 10, the Shekhinah will be there. The difference is which aspect of Shekhinah. So the aspect of Shekhinah that is necessary for davening and reading the Torah and all that is from the masculine. But when 10 women get together to study Torah, there's also presence of Shekhinah, but it's from the feminine. And therefore, the Rebbe spoke about the advantage of women also getting together and studying Torah as in a group of 10 has an advantage. Because, and a lot of the difference between men and women is not that men yes, women not, it's just that women are connected to different aspects of Hashem's presence. 23 is Ayin Sorim. Okay, that you have to know. What?
Nine. Oh.
What's the gematria of Ayin?
Oh, the letter I?
Yeah, 70. Okay, does that help? Sarim is not nation, Sarim is ministers. It's the 70 ministering angels. "24, Zod Atzilus and Malchus. So Za is really an acronym for the two words, Ze'er Anpin. Which spheres are Za and which is Malchus? Right, the first 6, that's Za. It's another name for the first 6 collectively. Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. Like the 6 days of the week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And the 7th one is Malchus. So even though in some instances it's all 7, that's why we have 7 days of the week. That's why there's so many things in Torah that we do it 7 times. Like the Hakopos is 7 times, and Hashanah is 7 times, and the wedding is 7 times. We do tefillin, we wrap around 7 times. But then there are also things in Torah that are number 6. And one of the reasons for that is because for that issue and that area and that context, what's necessary is the 6 without Malchus. Like, for example, how many volumes are there in the Oral Torah, which is the Mishnah? There are 6 volumes. And there are other things which are 6. Like one of the reasons why it says that the Jewish people in Mitzrayim was 600,000, it's really the 6 spheres, but each one includes in it the other 10, and the 10 include 10, and 10 include 10, and it comes out to be 600,000. But here we have the number 6 being emphasized. So there's some places where we talk about it's what's necessary is the 6. In some areas it's all 7 together, and some places it's Malchus alone. So when you talk about men and women, men are Zah and women are for Malchus. Number 25 is again not a Hasidic term. This is more like a halachic or just general term of Torah. Monim lechama means they count by the sun. The nations of the world, they count their calendar by the sun. You know what? I think I didn't actually finish the last paragraph or two paragraphs. Could that be? Yeah. I didn't do hey. Yeah, it's part of it. Yeah, very good. We have another 5 minutes. Let me do the last part here. That's where these words come from. That's how I remember. Okay, after explaining about the men and the women, I remember explaining it, but we never finished the mimer inside. So let's do it now. So it's on page 53. After he explained the difference, he says, "V'lochen," and therefore, hey, moinim, the nations of the world, they go by the sun. They establish their calendar by the sun. V'loy not by the moon, because of this reason. Even though Hachama, the sun, is L'mayla Madregim Alavana, the sun represents Zah, which is a higher level of godliness, and the moon represents Malchus, which is supposedly a lower level. But here in the sentence, that's the reason. Shebazeh atzmahu ta'asam, that was their mistake. Ba'amram, when they said, Ala Shemaim Kveda, his glory is on the heavens. Hashem's glory and Hashem's presence is in the spiritual realm. But he has no connection to the physical realm. They did not feel Hashem's presence in the physical because they related to Hashem as he's removed from the physical world. Yisrael, but Yidden, that we count by the moon. This means to say, Hashem is the God of the earth, no different than he's the God of the heavens. Maila umata, up and down, higher and lower, shavin, that's all equal in front of his bara. Because Hashem is infinite, so everything is equal. Although, page 54 and 55, even though earth is lower than the Shemayim, nevertheless, Hashem observes, not only observes, but he sort of manages everything that's going on in the earth, just like Shemayim equally. Why? Because Hashem is so high, and therefore he has to lower himself to see both the earth and the heaven. So in the pasuk it says that Hashem, in this booklet you have that pasuk. Let's see where it is. Well, we have no numbers here, so that makes it a little bit tough. But the pasuk is from Tillim, where it says Hashem lowers himself to look at the heavens and at the earth. Which means he lowers himself not only to look at the earth, he also has to lower himself to look at the heavens. And therefore, heaven and earth are both equally to Hashem because he's infinite. And both are considered like a descent for Hashem. Okay, don't have numbers. Here are Noshim, but women, because women's source comes from Malchus. Just like the moon waxes and wanes every month, which is similar to the cycle of a woman, every 30 days, and therefore, because they're connected to the moon, which is Malchus, they didn't accept what the Erev Rav was arguing, that the Egel, that this golden calf, Chas v'Shalom, is the source. The men who were not connected to that world, they were connected to a higher world. Therefore, to them, godliness was somewhere else. And down here, they didn't feel that is connected to Hashem's presence. And for this reason, now we come to the conclusion. Yontav Shel Rosh Chodesh, the Yontav of Rosh Chodesh, which is the Yontav of the moon, and it's the time of the moon's ascent. In other words, the moon goes down. Rosh Chodesh, when the moon starts going back up again. It used to be a custom. We don't follow it anymore. Not in Chabad. The Rebbe requested that we should change it, and that is that people made weddings only the first half of the month, not the second half of the month. And the reason was because the second half of the month, the moon is on its way down.
Yeah.
And the first half of the month, the moon is on the way up. There were a few months that are an exception, like Adar and Elul, maybe Kislev, but otherwise, then the Rebbe said that today we don't want to have anything interfering. Weddings just whenever they're ready to happen, they should happen. So no more pushing it off, and no more looking for special months. Just any day in the month is good enough. Then later there was the sichur. The Rebbe explained, get to in a second. The fact that the moon gets smaller and smaller is not because it's getting less, but actually it's getting higher. But that's too much to explain right now. Yeah.
So I know you explained this, but I get women are closer to the moon for these reasons. The reason the moon is closer to the Jewish people than the God. Malchus is closer, it's a lower.
So closer to us, that allows us to feel Hashem's presence here in the physical world.
And why is the moon closer to us than the sun?
Because the moon is a sphere of Malchus,
Okay, got it.
and Malchus is the source of this physical world. So if it's the source, we feel it more. Zah is more removed. So therefore, even though all mitzvahs which are time-bound, women are actually exempt, but Rosh Chodesh is different because that's the source of women's neshama. That's the source, which is the world of Alma Denukva, the feminine realm. Okay, Baruch Hashem, we finished. And what I usually have in these sheets, and almost no other memorim here, I guess I didn't have the time to do it, is to write a short summary of what the mimer is all about. So I'm offering it to one of the students, actually to all the students, whoever learned the mimer, write a short summary, and whichever is the best one, I'll incorporate it into the booklet. We have a few of them that are written by students and written very well. Okay, so tomorrow we're starting a mimer in the Kuti Torah, and also very powerful mimer. It's Hashem that begin tomorrow. Everybody else. Thank you.
Pleasure.